way back in the distant history of television, the year 2017. The season 42 finale of SNL included a sketch featuring everyone's favorite wrestler turned movie personage, I'm not going to call him an actor, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In the skit, a gathering of evil geniuses showcased their various wicked inventions, vying for the most evil. From shrink rays to pilfer beloved national monuments, to freeze guns encasing priceless art, the evil scientists all cackled wildly at their dastardly contraptions. Until Roy, played by Johnson, presented his contribution. A robot designed to, how to put this into YouTube-friendly terms, designed to lure children into a white panel van. The comedy coming in with the outrage, disgust, and absolute bewilderment of the other evil geniuses as to why he would do such a thing. To Roy's response, well, because it's evil. It's a funny skit contrasting established comedic notions of evil with real-world atrocity. Although, much like SNL itself, the bit doesn't know how to end properly and it just kind of it peters out. Okay, why am I bringing up an old Saturday Night Live skit when it seems to have nothing to do with the topic on the thumbnail or the title of the video itself? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer, because I'm doing that oh-so-clever thing that video essayists love to do. They love to open with a seemingly incongruous, a strange topic that doesn't seem germane to the matter at hand, and cleverly weave it into the argument I'd like to make regarding something that's on my mind and I want to share with you. So bear with me, there is relevance here, it'll all come together. Sit down, we need to talk about Andor. Specifically how it portrays Star Wars with regard to a certain scene, from a certain point of view. My name is Sheep, these are my fingers, and we need to talk about Andor. The second and final season of Andor is fantastic. It's not just good Star Wars, it's excellent television. And it has just snapped up a very well-deserved Emmy for Best Writing in a Drama Series. But it's not just the writing. The acting, set design, and the blending of all these things to make some of the most compelling characters on screen, it almost seems in opposite to what we've come to expect from the current Star Wars franchise. Overall, the Andor series succeeds because it achieves with flying colors the 4 pillars or 4 table legs of good storytelling: character, plot, world building, and theme. Yet, in spite of that, 2 very pointed criticisms have been leveled against the show's second season. First, it starts slow. The first 3 episodes border on tedious, to the point that I started calling the show Meandor because I had no idea where it was going. The second criticism is the scene.
He tried to
Yeah. Fortunately, the first problem fixes itself. The show ratchets up the pace and stakes and delivers. Yes, the beginning episodes could be tighter, even condensed, but the payoff is worth it. Sadly, the second issue...
He tried to
Yeah, we need to talk about that. For those that need a quick catch-up, in the 3rd episode of the 2nd season of Andor, there is a scene depicting an Imperial officer attempting to SA a female character. While he is lowering his pants for a surface invasion, she clubs him to death. There's been significant debate over whether or not this scene should even exist. Some arguing that with the more adult approach Andor's opting for, scenes depicting such assaults are not outside the scope of evils that the Empire would perpetuate. Others say this sort of thing should not be in Star Wars at all, that in a fantasy setting like this, it's jarring and woefully out of place. Not going to bury the lead here, guys. I'm firmly in the second camp. A scene like this, as presented, should not be in Star Wars. And this is not coming from some hand-wringing puritanical view denying that in war awful things happen. This is where my silly example at the beginning of the video comes in. Because the truth is, when it comes to evil, Star Wars has always had rules. Rules this scene breaks. Let's get into the nature of evil in Star Wars. George Lucas always had a particular vision, whether it was from the inspiration he drew from or the tone and ideas that he wanted to convey, and this was very much in play in the representation of the wicked. Darth Vader, perhaps the most iconic villain in cinema, depicted in black, towering over others with a skull-like visage and robotic yet commanding voice. Even something as seemingly innocuous and human as the breath he takes is turned into a menacing, labored metallic rasp. His depiction is overt, every part character and monster. This extends to other villains. The Emperor, this ghoulish lich of a creature, stooped and deformed. Jabba the Hutt, a repulsive giant slug. Hell, Darth Maul literally has devil horns on his head. Even the rank-and-file stormtroopers in skeletal white masks with inhuman skulls, and the officers of the Empire looking like they had just stepped out of late 1930s Germany. Not even remotely subtle. There's no confusing the righteous with the wicked, even when there is doubt. We all somehow knew Han and Lando would do the right thing in the end because they look like heroes. I mean, come on, Lando even wears a cape. And this is where I'm going to draw boos from the audience. The reason for this is because in Star Wars, the depiction of evil is evil ad absurdum. To be clear, this does not diminish the cruelty of the Empire or the threat they represent. We all understand the absolute evil of wiping out an entire planet of life. We get the injustice of racism against aliens or droids, but it's all evil we will never directly experience in our day-to-day lives. In a fantasy setting like Star Wars, to enjoy the escape of said fantasy, we need that level of insulation, that degree of separation from such atrocities. But this...
He tried to
A girl getting attacked in a shed by a soldier butts up against real-world cruelty that many watching, tuning in for a fantasy series about laser swords and space wizards, have either experienced or know of close ones that have experienced. I mean, the mere fact that I need to censor this for YouTube purposes.
He tried to
That should tell you how contentious this subject is. It points to a gross misunderstanding of what Star Wars is. We're meant to enjoy it in the moment, but only on reflection do we understand the implications. It's like Charlie Chaplin once said, the difference between tragedy and comedy is distance. Star Wars removes us from what is truly heinous, just enough so we can leave the harsh realities of the actual world behind in the moment. An alternative generic example of this is the classic mustachio-twirling bad guy tying the damsel to the tracks so to be rescued by the hero. Taken to its full conclusion, the consequences for the hero failing are horrendous. But we don't think about that. The situation is absurd enough that we can't truly compute what the hero failing actually looks like. But the stakes are still there. So, what's the big deal about this? Why have such a strong view on this scene in particular, being so adamant that it doesn't belong? Maintaining that it's damaging to Star Wars. For me, it's two things. The first is pretty easy to explain, so let's get that out of the way. Andor is outstanding. If you haven't figured it out, in spite of this critique, I strongly recommend it. I was tempted to do a video just absolutely glazing the series, but I thought this was actually a bit more important to say. And it's because of that quality that a misstep like this actually needs to be highlighted. Tony Gilroy is a fantastic writer, showrunner, and just all-round amazing storyteller. His understanding of character and his ability to slowly ratchet up suspense and tension, and more importantly, release it in a wholly satisfying way, is masterful. Just watch Andor and you will realize that this is put together by someone who intimately understands the espionage genre and has researched extensively the formation of revolutions and the toppling of regimes. Sadly, it is because of this quality that a scene like this sticks out. I'm not saying it's the bad apple that ruins the batch. It just makes that bite all the more bitter. The second thing that I feel that not only is this scene out of place, it has the potential to damage the franchise. Not that Star Wars is in the greatest place right now as it is, but ensconced in this excellence that is the Andor series, this sort of thing might go unnoticed. A phantom menace, if you will. Recently, I heard one of the biggest content creators, possibly the biggest in the Star Wars realm, say he can't imagine that Vader or even the Emperor would approve of such behavior amongst the rank and file. Of course they wouldn't. It would damage the franchise because of the massive contingent of fans who feel that Vader and the Emperor are kind of awesome. That a large contingent of fans, myself included, quietly, from time to time, root for the Empire. But if they're endorsing this,
He tried to.
that evaporates in a puff of death stick smoke. It needs to be okay for us to like the bad guys. But this all points to a greater issue with Star Wars at the moment. A massive tonal incongruity for the franchise. And is that really any surprise? As much as we enjoy the more mature approach of Andor, we have a Baby Yoda movie in the works to look forward to. I mean, yay. Red Letter Media recently put out a video touching on this, and it boils down to no one really knowing what's at the soul of Star Wars. It's like the people who have the keys to the kingdom don't really have a hand on the tiller. That Star Wars has become about pumping out as much content as possible in as many ways as possible and just seeing what sticks. The franchise has become a content fire hose. I really love Andor. I love the extent of the quality that has been put into it. I love it not because it is just good Star Wars, but because it is good television. But just because something is adult doesn't mean that all options are on. Star Wars has rules that maintain its identity. The sad news is, I don't think anyone at the reins knows what those rules are anymore.